Hey, turns out pop musicians got millions in dollars of taxpayer-funded COVID relief payments. This is gonna be fun. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell, and Merry Christmas! I hope all of you are enjoying the holidays with family, jamming to Mariah Carey, and giving younglings gifts like skibbity toilet packs on Fortnite. This is more horrifying than any ghost that visited Scrooge. But while you're at it, why not buy a subscription to my new premium website at ChinaUncensored.tv for your loved ones? There's a lot of great exclusive stuff you can only see on the website. I'll tell you more at the end. But as you know, many Americans have been struggling to make ends meet. The cost of groceries has skyrocketed, and we're seeing similar increases with rent. All of this on top of taxes, costly health insurance, and other challenging expenses life throws at you. Since it's been so hard to get by, it's no wonder people are thrilled that Uncle Sam has stepped in to help out the little guy with financial support. And when I mean the little guy, I mean little as in multimillionaire Lil Wayne. As it turns out, the government, that is, the taxpayers, footed the bill for luxury hotels, shopping sprees, million-dollar bonuses, and a whole lot more for wealthy musicians. But don't worry, I'm sure Mr. Wayne feels very bad about it. Just look at those tears. I assume they're tears of remorse. It's got Lil Wayne and Akon singing "I'm So Paid" because he got dem government money. I hope you're ready. You're going to see a lot of these references. Business Insider initially broke the story last year on how celebrities like Post Malone, Chris Brown, and Nickelback, yes, Nickelback, scored $200 million in pandemic taxpayer cash. You heard me right. Taxpayers helped all these poor, struggling artists get by. Wait, the Smashing Pumpkins are back together? Did our tax money subsidize their reunion? As bad as that sounds, $200 million in government money on rich celebrities, it's actually somehow even worse. How could it possibly be? Well, it's how that money was spent. According to Business Insider's latest report from earlier this month, Lil Wayne spent over $1.3 million on private jet flights and over $460,000 on luxury clothes and accessories. Thankfully, none of those accessories went to fixing the pothole that's been on my street for 11 years. I'd hate it if my tax dollars actually went to that. Lil Wayne also used taxpayer money to have a good time with them hot girls, to cover nearly $15,000 worth of flights and luxury hotels for women, including a waitress at a Hooters-type restaurant and a porn actress. Yes, taxpayer money going to porn stars. Crazy, am I right? Well, it's not the pothole on my street, but at least something's getting filled. Lil Wayne certainly wasn't the only musician to take advantage of the grant. Chris Brown also used taxpayer money for his own entertainment. But don't judge him. Unless it's for beating Rihanna, then judge away. Luckily for Brown, he's a bit more fiscally minded than Lil Wayne. Out of the $10 million his company received, he only spent just shy of $80,000 on his 33rd birthday party, featuring a $3,600 LED dance floor, more than $29,000 for hookahs, bottle service nitrogen ice cream, and couch damages, and $2,100 on atmosphere models, aka nude women in body paint. $80,000? What were those models covered in? Paint from an original Picasso? And out of the $10 million that went to Brown's company, CBE Touring, $5.1 million went to Brown personally. The audacity to tell taxpayers IDGAF by spending their hard-earned cash this way. And in case you're wondering, yes, I did have to thoroughly Google each and every one of these references, so you're welcome. So how were they able to get away with these expensive shenanigans? Well, there was a little-known COVID program called the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Signed into law by President Trump in 2020, this was supposed to help struggling independent venues and artists. And obviously it was a success. Just look at these struggling, completely independent artists. Even though this was 2020, Trump even had some bipartisan support. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer championed this as a way to help independent venues and small art groups.
But people forget there are these live venues, smaller stages, where young artists who are trying out their talent come. The problem is, at a live venue, you almost by definition be closed. So they were the first to close, and they'll be the last to open. They can't survive. There's no more money. There's the rent, there's the utilities. So we are proposing in Save Our Stages $10 billion to go to grants for 6 months to keep these folks going.
And while it did help many smaller companies, big-name musicians eventually caught on that they too could be eligible for grant money via their loan-out companies, corporate entities used to manage income and expenses related to touring and other professional activities. Thankfully, that money trickled down to porn stars and nude models because they believe in supporting the arts. So how exactly did this work? Artists were able to get this money by showing that their loan-out company's gross revenue fell by at least 25% between one quarter in 2019 and the same quarter in 2020. They also had to make a good faith statement saying that they needed the grant money for ordinary and necessary expenses. You know, expenses like hookahs and nude chicks, the most essential of the essential workers. Aside from these necessary expenditures, grant money was also used for payroll, and by payroll, I mean the wealthy artists themselves. Steve Aoki's loan-out company, DJ Kid Millionaire Touring, spent $2.4 million in grant money on payroll costs, of which $1.9 million went to officer pay. And would you look at that, Aoki's the only officer in charge. How about that? Hearing a buddy of Lincoln Park did this takes me one step closer to the edge. I'm about to break for a commercial. Oh wait, we don't do that anymore. Marshmello also didn't want to be left out. All $9.9 million of his grant went into his own pocket. Guess I shouldn't be surprised a guy named Marshmello would have sticky fingers. But it isn't just limited to rappers and electronic musicians. Bands like Shinedown and Alice in Chains likewise put millions into their payrolls. And get this doesn't technically count as fraud, legally speaking. These celebrities were able to tell taxpayers, "Give me that," and they got away with it. I wouldn't be surprised if you felt just a little bitter hearing all this. It's like a punch to the face. Oh, I'm not referencing a song, I'm referencing something else. With life so difficult for the average American, how could the US government let wealthy celebrities get away with this? Well, it all comes down to typical government nonsense. As much as agencies like the Small Business Administration claim that they keep an eye on fraud, they overlooked a lot of things, a lot of really expensive things. For example, they overlooked assets in favor of simply focusing on revenue when it came to doling out the grant money. What that means is the SBA was ignoring the net worth of these musicians and only focusing on their touring companies losing revenue due to the pandemic. So while Lil Wayne and Chris Brown were chilling in their mansions drinking Cristal, they were collecting millions because they couldn't tour. That must have been a real rough time for these millionaires. There was also tremendous pressure on the SBA to just dole out as much money as fast as possible. The SBA's solution was to loosen up anti-fraud controls on the front end of the grant process. There was also a lot of less focus on digging through detailed records of how people were actually going to spend the grant money. Instead, shifting to doing it after the funds were distributed because that's government smart. As one person who worked on the grants told Business Insider, they were just trying to get money out. If it was fraudulent, if it was not eligible, whatever. And an SBA employee said everybody kept saying, "Shut up, sit down, process the file." My, what good stewards of other people's money these government officials were. Say what you want about Trump allegedly spending money on a porn star, but if he did, at least it wasn't your money. Remember, this $200 million spent on wealthy celebrities is on top of the over $200 billion in COVID relief aid fraudsters might have stolen. One would think this would drive politicians and government officials to put a firm line on the ground and say, never again, perhaps someday, but I wouldn't count on it. And these celebrities don't even feel bad about it, except Lil Wayne. Meanwhile, many of the people that money was intended for are still struggling, and many can't afford essentials such as rent, groceries, and skibbity toilet packs on Fortnite. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, check out our new premium website at ChinaUncensored.tv. There's a lot of great exclusive stuff you can only get on the website, and you'll be helping me continue to get the truth out about all the most important breaking news. Episodes like this wouldn't be possible without your support. More info is in the description below, so head over to ChinaUncensored.tv and become one of our first premium subscribers. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.